Hey everybody, what's going on? Emo Tempest here, and welcome to my Opus 23 Hidden Trials overview. I am excited to have this. I'm excited to do this with you guys again. It's been a while. I know we have long since done one of these, but I think it's a little overdue. I'm going to try to keep them short and sweet though. We're not going to go over every card, or let's face it, a lot of this is cannon fodder. You know, I am going to highlight what I think some of the best cards in this element, and hopefully you agree with me. Any disagreements though, you can leave them in the comments for sure. I'm not going to dilly-dally too much, but as always, if you find something useful here, it would mean a lot if you would like the video and share it in your discords. It really goes a long way for helping the channel out. So yeah, let's get started here. First off, you know, the fire is always usually the first one that you start off with. So, Caius. We saw this one early on in the Card of the Weeks, I believe. Might have been one of the first ones, actually. But, he's a good card. I'm not going to lie. But the Bahamut targets is the problem, right? So, when he enters the field, you can search for a Bahamut, add it to your hand, and the next Bahamut you cast is reduced by 5. And when he's put from the field into the break zone, you may discard 3 cards. When you do so, play Caius from the break zone onto the field. So a second auto on that second effect that could just be detrimental to you, that I don't even want to think about. But let's talk about his main effect, right? He's obviously a very playable Caius, probably the first of a long line of bad cards. The problem the only problem I'm having with this is the Bahamut targets, right? A lot of these Bahamuts are all the same stuff now. Deal X damage, remove a forward, you know, any way you write it, or deal some kind of damage, and if you're lucky, you can remove the forward, right? So a lot of things don't really change in that aspect. The new one is interesting, but it's a little lacking for me. Choosing a forward with 9k or less, which it could be problematic, right? You just have to pump them up. Every deck has something, right, to pump it up. Just kind of helps them dodge it. Removing a card from the break zone is a nice touch. Honestly, it's not too much of a big deal, but it could be useful, especially since you're casting these for free. A little removal never hurt anybody, right? But let's face it, I think the last Bahamut we got was a solid card, 10k, remove it. If it's during your turn, it costs 2 less or something like that. It's really just it is. The card, Caius is good. He's a good enough card to be interesting, but again, the Bahamuts is something we're lacking right now. That being said, you know, we could obviously grab the forward. It could be a whole thing, but that's another like tech for another video, I think. Next is going to be the Terra. Obviously the L's are going to get highlighted in these. I like how she'll always get you a summon, right? So when Terra enters the field or is put from the field into the break zone, choose a summon in your break zone, add it to your hand, stop. So on a good day, she'll get you 2. If she gets the only thing that I guess that's well, actually you can't actually miss Dragon her anymore, right? Because all summons in your break zone cannot be removed from the game by your opponent's summons or abilities. So it's going to take a lot to actually get around her effects, which is nice, and I think it's very important. I worry though that let's finish that thought. So she's a nice card, and she makes up her value for her cost, right? Her split, her 5/5 split. It is kind of an upgrade from the current starter deck Terra we have. It's, you know, 4/5, 4-drop 5k, get a summon back, deal 2k whenever you cast a summon. I imagine that I've missed the 2k ping from time to time in other decks. You know, it really is going to depend on it. I think it's very good. I think it has potential. Unfortunately, it's also another Terra that doesn't particularly fit in the FF6 synergy. It just kind of sits outside watching from the sidelines. They're doing its own thing, right? We've had a lot of Terras that kind of fit in that realm. There was an Earth one. There's the Ice one from last set. I think there's like 2 Ice ones that we got back to back that didn't really do much other than be a name for any, you know, for any FF6 synergies that we've come to, you know, appreciate over the last couple sets. But yeah, again, solid card. I worry that she might just end up being put in a deck with high EX burst, high summons, you know, something like that. But yeah, if that's what she does, that's what she does. The next ones are going to be Soul Cage, and then we'll dance a little bit over here to Zorn and Thorn. So Soul Cage we covered early on. It was one of the cards spoiled. If you control 2 or more monsters, Soul Cage also becomes a forward of 9k, easily done. And then when he's put from the field in the break zone, you may remove Soul Cage from the game. When you do so, choose a monster in your break zone and add it to your hand. So you can pitch Soul Cage for Soul Cage. He is unique, right? So you can't have 2 out at the same time. When he dies, you grab the other Soul Cage, play it out later. It's very simple, you know, math game. Then there's things. Now I want to pair this with stuff like Zorn and Thorn, right? When Zorn and Thorn enter the field or attacks, choose a forward your opponent controls. It gains, if possible, this forward must block, which is something we don't see a lot of still. But we do like this effect until the end of the turn. And then when Zorn and Thorn is put from the field in the break zone, you may search for a monster of cost 2 or less and play it onto the field. So, again, Soul Cage is probably the best monster in the set. Lots of value, early pressure, high advantage card. Zorn and Thorn has so much potential for a great thing, and I'm finally happy to see him. Like I said, I was hoping it would be like a cool Limber Burst, but this will do. Again, this is these cards are probably easily going to fit in a monster deck. I think monsters overall got a big boost this set. That's again going to be another topic for another video, but very good cards, very good cards. Next is going to be Nalapa. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I don't even remember this character. I'll tell you that right now. When your opponent casts a summon, select up to 2 of the following actions. Choose a forward, deal a 10k, or Nalapa deals your opponent a point of damage. Yeah, this is probably my favorite fire card. It's like a face-up trap card your opponent has to deal with. Pair it with some cheeky cards like Back Attack Orin, or something green that says it can't be chosen by abilities, and your opponent is going to start sweating. There's a lot of cool things to be done with this, but just free like point of damage if your opponent casts something is absurd. It's threatening, right? I can see this going into a couple things. High pressure aggro decks to kind of help keep the pressure going, right? Like I don't see why this doesn't. I don't want to say Knights right away, but you know, something that's really just heavy aggro. Drop this on turn 2 or 3 when if your opponent has set up and kind of try to stabilize, because eventually they have answers, right? So if they try to answer you and you're bored with some or something, it's like, okay, I'm stealing damage anyway. It doesn't matter. Or you know, my forward, or I'm gonna nuke one of your guys, so you better block, right? Kind of situation. So it kind of creates like a weird board state, and I love that. I love cards that do that. Now, at the moment, I don't know where it's going to go. Like, I don't have a place for it because I don't have a deck like that. But those are my current thoughts. Hopefully you guys can come up with something as well. Yeah. My honorable mention is going to be Parai. When Parai enters the field, you may receive a point of damage. When you do so, search for a category FFL character and add it to your hand. 2 CP Bosch effect for FLL is going to be somewhat useful, I'm sure. The FFL is a weird one that's all over the place. It's in every color. It has forwards, backups. I don't think there's monsters for it yet. So it really just depends what we need out of it, and if there's no other ways to get it, right? Currently, I'm thinking like you can play him into a backup, into search another backup on curve, or you could just search. Have your backup search something else, right? Because I think there's Journey, and we have some Journeys this set too that do things. But there's Journey that searches an FLL forward. There's a ton of cards. I think I still have them here. Yeah, I don't want to come here too much because of the change. Some of the older ones are, you know, Journey. You have Mana, Search Ninjas. Just 2-drop Amo. I think there's a new Amo in this one too. If we go back to like some of the other ones, I know we saw Journey here, which we'll cover later, and then I think we saw the Ice Amo too, right? I say ammo, which is fantastic. I just think it's really good, right? Being able to a 2-drop Bosch effect that's specific for one category is very nice. So that's why he is my honorable mention for fire. We have to obviously can't continue without talking about these limit break cards. I think I like Arden a lot actually. So 6-drop limit break 1 Brave. When Arden is put from the field into the break zone, you may play a face down Arden card from your limit break deck onto the field duel. If you do so, turn one face down card. Turn one face down card in your limit break face up. A lot of words. But yeah, it's cool. He plays himself from the limit break zone. I think that's awesome, honestly. I wouldn't have expected something like that, but that saves us a lot of CP. Obviously, he has to hit the break zone, right? I know we talked about some of the rulings. Remember, even though they all go back to the limit break deck after, they all will hit whatever zone they get sent to, right? So if you bounce Arden back to your hand, he will go to your hand, and then automatically game state check will put him in the limit break deck. So he does hit your hand, right? Same thing goes here. If he dies and he goes straight to the break zone, he will hit the break zone and then will be sent to the limit break deck. So as long as that, he goes from field to break zone, he will do this. So it's something you got to keep an eye on, obviously. But I do like this card a lot. I think it's fun. I love that it's a big guy for limit break 1. That's great. We need more of that. He doesn't have to do anything crazy, but I have to be able to play multiples, right? And that's why he's good. Vincent, limit break 2, 5 CP, 8K, first strike. When Vincent enters the field, you may put one fire backup you control into the break zone. When you do so, choose a forward your opponent controls. Deal at 9,000 damage. Love this also. I'm a big fan of being able to open up backup space. Always have been, always will be. I think the fact that he's 7 will make a difference also, but just more removal is great coming out of the limit break deck. I personally am not big on limit break 2 cards yet. I loved Cloud for obvious reasons, but it kind of makes things jumble, right? Especially when you want to play something big, like a Titus or even some of the newer ones in this set. I think we have a new, obviously not to dive into other colors, but we have stuff like 3 limit break Echo and the lightning guy, Edge. So, it's obviously that's part of the game, right? It's balancing your limit break. You only have 8 cards and how to use them, but I think he makes his way into some of these cards. Guys, that's it for the fire stuff. Please share your thoughts with me. What is it that you enjoyed? What is it that did I miss one that I should have covered? Please sound off. Make sure to check out the rest of these videos. I'm gonna keep working on them, and hope you like them. Enjoy.